Hi everyone, my name is Melissa from InspiremeASap, and today I want to share with you a book that I wrote called Trevor, the Boy Who Learned to Love Reading. I wrote this book because I wanted a different and unique way to teach my students about expected reading behaviors. Meet Philip and Jasmine. Philip and Jasmine love having adventures together, and their favorite part of adventures is sharing those adventures with readers. They love to climb cliffs, explore caves, dive underwater, and go skydiving because they get to share these things with the people who read their stories. Most of the time, kids are really engrossed with the story. They take their time to read the pages slowly. They stay in one good reading spot while reading. They laugh at the funny parts in the story. This lets Philip and Jasmine know that their story is pretty awesome. It keeps them motivated to keep on having great adventures. But sometimes we notice that there are some fake readers out there. Kids are just pretending to read our story. They sometimes turn the pages so fast that we get dizzy. Adventures are meant to be enjoyed and cherished, not rushed through. Fake readers rush through the story, and that makes it impossible to enjoy our adventures. You know, Jasmine, just last week, there was this kid who picked up our book about climbing Mount Everest, began Philip. And instead of reading the words on the page, he started to make noise and distract the people around him. That was just rude, Philip said. Jasmine agreed. Yeah, what about that time when Jamal said, "Books are boring"? I was so hurt, I almost fell right out of the page. Books are anything but boring. Real readers know that books are exciting and full of life and fun. Philip nodded his head. You know, have you ever noticed that one boy in class named Trevor? Philip said, he always picks up the same boring book. Then he just makes noises during reading time, and he pretends to just read. I know, said Jasmine. He's never even read one of our books. If he only read one of our adventure books, he would for sure be hooked on reading. I know he would begin to love reading if he just read about some of our adventures. Well, that night, Philip and Jasmine were in their bedroom, wide awake. You see, they couldn't sleep because they were busy thinking about Trevor. Trevor was a student in Miss Hiller's class. While his friends sat around reading stories, he would just sit there with a book in his lap. Whenever Miss Hiller looked at him, he would flip open the book and he would just pretend to read. He would think about other things and daydream when it was reading time and he flipped the pages. All the other kids in the class, they were reading all the parts of every page. They were rereading parts that they did not understand. They were taking care of their books. Trevor? He wasn't doing any of these things. Jasmine and Philip felt sad for Trevor, and they knew that he would love to read when he found the right book. The next day, Jasmine and Philip are very happily surprised when a young girl tries to help Trevor. The students are just about to start reading, and the girl says, "Hey, Trevor, I just saw this awesome book yesterday. I think you'd like it." The girl walks over to the bookshelf. She picks up one of Philip and Jasmine's books. It is the book where they dove into underwater caves and found a shark. In this book, they had to swim away from the shark before it could eat them. The only places they could hide was a sunken ship. While in the sunken ship, they found some treasure. "Oh, that's one of my favorite adventures," Philip said. "This girl picked the perfect book for Trevor." Philip and Jasmine watch as Trevor sits down with the book. He carefully looks at every part of the cover before slowly opening the front. Philip and Jasmine are amazed. Trevor takes his time to read and enjoy the entire book. He reads quietly and he stays in the same spot the entire time he is reading. He is focused and he is completely engrossed in the story. At the end of the story, Trevor slowly closes the book and gives the girl a smile and says, "This is the best book I have ever read. Thank you." And with that, Trevor walks into the class library and walks over to the book bin that holds all of Philip and Jasmine's adventures. He starts looking through the bin to find another adventure to read. Jasmine and Philip couldn't contain their excitement. "See," Jasmine said excitedly, "I told you that if he read one of our stories, he would love reading." Philip agreed. "You were so right, Jasmine. It looks like we have another reader in Miss Hiller's class." But this is not the end of the story. In fact, boys and girls, this is just the beginning. That is because Jasmine and Philip want to see what kind of reader you are. They know that you will stay in one good reading spot, take your time to read slowly, and respect all of the readers around you. Most importantly, Philip and Jasmine know that you will find books that you love to read, just like Trevor. You are a reader. What book will you read today? As I make this into a class book, the last page of the class book is a page where they just sign their name, agreeing to the promise of demonstrating expected reading behaviors. I hoped that you enjoyed this book, and I hope that when you share it with your students, they will begin to see some of the expected reading behaviors that will make reading time in your class successful.